Do we have sound?
Oh, we got sound, chat. All right, chat, welcome to another stream of some live cooking, point of view style. Today, I'm gonna kind of use a little bit of leftovers from last night's stream. If y'all weren't there for it, it was a chicken parm with a 5 cheese risotto, and I've got some of the risotto left over. I'm gonna basically form them into cakes, kind of like potato cakes, or like I guess like a risotto pancake you could call it. And we're gonna sear it in some butter and oil and get it nice and crispy. I don't know if you've ever been to an Italian restaurant before where they have arancini on the menu. Basically arancini is just risotto that's been made already, and it's stuffed with mozzarella and parmesan and usually English peas. You'll still green English peas in there with it, and then it's breaded and fried and a little, you know, basically Italian fucking hush puppies, if you will. That's basically what we're doing here, minus the peas, and we're not forming balls, we're just making cakes. So it's gonna be a little bit easier to manage. I don't have a deep fryer. I don't wanna deal with all that oil. I'm sure you don't either. So we're just gonna use a little non-stick pan here. All my pans are old and beat up, but they're seasoned well, so they're all non-stick, even though they're not supposed to be technically, but this one hasn't been seasoned really well over time. So is this one, and this is just a saucepan I'm gonna make our tomato broth in. I'll kind of explain that. So basically what we're gonna do is make a seared pork chop. Pork chops are on sale at my grocery store. I guess I should probably cover that up so you don't like product placement or some shit. But as you can see there, $3.59, $3.59 for 2 bone-in pork chops. They're pork loin rib chops. So they don't have the loin end, which is, if this was a loin chop, you would see a little piece of meat here. It's just part of the tenderloin on the pork loin, the big bone-in loin that you see with the ribs. And then this is just the center cut of the rib. So no, we don't have to worry about the loin. The loins were delicious. I just didn't really want to, they kind of cook differently, so I wanted more to focus on the rib meat. And they sell the bone in, so they might take a little bit longer to cook, but we're gonna kind of go for a medium to mid well. We're not gonna go for, you're gonna see a little pink in this pork, you know, and that's kind of how I like it. Some people, it might freak some people out, but there hasn't been trichinosis in a foodborne illness or a case in 50 plus years now, so I think we're good. The way our farming and our pigs are very clean animals despite rolling around in mud. Same with cats, despite shitting in boxes. You know what I'm saying? So basically I got the pork chops there, 2 pork chops for $4. I got a bag of green beans here. They're called French beans. The real name is haricot vert. You can see there, it's pronounced haricot vert. Haricot vert, very French. You'll see it on a menu. If you're a redneck, you know, like I'm half redneck, you'll probably call it haricot vert. I got my risotto here, that's just left over. I got some fresh thyme here. That was probably the most expensive thing out of all this. I've got some leftover chicken stock from last stream making the risotto. I've got some crushed tomatoes here we're going to use for our tomato broth. This is just Cinto. They're my favorite brand. They're Italian, very nice tomatoey flavor. I like to crush because I like to make it more of a broth and not have to worry about chunks and stuff, and we're going to strain it anyway, so it'll be nice and brothy. Fresh garlic, same garlic from the last couple of streams, just using it over and over again. Got an onion here I'm going to use, just a standard yellow onion. I don't really like the sweet onions as much as this one, as just a standard yellow. It's got a little more bite to it, a little bit more savory flavor in there. And then I got just butter, softening it up, that we're going to use to baste our pork chops with as we sear them. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to get this pan going. This is for our pork chops, so I'm just going to get it heating up while we do this. And then what we're also going to do is we're going to get our broth going so we can get that cooking. So back here I got a sauce pot for that. I'm also going to use an immersion blender later on to kind of blend everything together. So if you don't have one of those, you can just use like a food processor or a regular blender if you have one, or you don't have to blend it at all. Or you can buy tomato sauce instead of the crushed tomato, and then that way you just kind of have some chunks of onion and garlic in there, or you can always strain it out as well. So either way you can make this happen regardless of what tools you have. There's always a way. So let's get this going. So basically what we're gonna do, only cutting you really have to do, because the green beans, I bought them already made. This is one of those like microwavable steam-in bags, but obviously we're not gonna do that. We're gonna use the same pan that we use our pork chops with to just lightly saute them just till they're done. I like my green beans a little crispier than most, so some people might call my green beans raw, but I like them, you know, al dente, if you will. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna start by just giving my knife a little edge. I think I explained in my last stream that this knife is single edge. As you can see, I don't know if you can see it, but that you can see it glistening on this side. That's the edge of the blade. And then over here you don't see it. So it's basically flat on this side and sharp on this side. It's a Japanese knife. That's how they make their knives. Some of the sharpest knives in the world. So it's got strength, holds the edge, stays sharp. So we're only going to use a little bit of this onion, probably about half, if even that. So basically what we're going to do is just start by cutting it in half because we don't need the whole thing. Put that to the side. So now I'm just going to cut this side off. I'm going to cut the root. I'm going to cut just the edge of the root end off because we're going to dice this onion so you can see it's still on there. That way it holds the onion together and it won't make you cry like crazy, because once you cut that off it just releases all the juice and the onion will just kind of fall apart. It just makes it harder to dice. So we're going to take this top layer off and that little silky skin looking layer as well. Get all this in here. Get all this thrown away because we don't need it. I really need like a garbage bowl or something, but I'm not Rachel Ray, so I don't mind taking 2 steps to the trash can, throw everything away as I go. But by all means, if you want a garbage bowl, please do. I'll take this layer off too because it doesn't look good. All right, so basically what we're gonna do is the root end here. I'm right-handed, so I have a knife in my right hand, so I'm gonna hold with my left. If you were left-handed, it would be like this, right? Put the root to the right. So basically I want the root to the right, which is over here, and we're gonna start the knife down, just put it flat against the cutting board, and that way you can guide up as you're going to slice. So what we're gonna do is put your fingers down. You're never gonna cut yourself as long as your fingers are like this and your thumb is behind these fingers. You're never gonna cut yourself. I promise, just take your time. You're never gonna do it. So basically what we're gonna do is put this here, right at the base of the onion, about, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch up. You're gonna slice vertically, or horizontally, sorry, almost to the end, almost probably just about where the root is. Go up a little bit more, about another 1/8 of an inch. Again, and then one more on top. Be careful with that last one. Now, the onion's round, so you don't just slice straight. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna, at an angle, start slicing the onion, and then we're gonna kind of come up. Now we're straight. Now we're going back at an angle, right? So always keep your fingers safe. So now we kind of got this thing here, onion still put together. If you cut that root end off, this would just be going everywhere right now and you'd be having a terrible time. So what we're gonna do is now we're gonna dice, right? So now we're gonna come down and we're just gonna make nice little squares, right? Kind of hold the onion together as you go. And now we got just a nice small little dice, generally even enough for what we need it for. Obviously, if you're trying to get really, really fancy and use onions as like a garnish or something, which, you know, in like a salsa or a pico or something like that, then you can kind of take it apart layer by layer if you want and go that way. But so now this is really all I need. I'm gonna put that off to the side. I don't need that right now because we don't need it super oniony in this broth. So now I got that going, I'm gonna get this heating up. It's this pan right here. And probably just like 2 decent sized cloves of garlic will be enough. Garlic's almost done. So that's a big boy right there. And again, if you've watched my other streams, I like to keep my garlic sliced. So we're gonna do the same thing here. It's gonna get blended anyway, so it doesn't really matter, but let's toss that back in the fridge. Garlic's so sticky. All right, so now we're gonna do, just kind of crack it a little bit, not smashing it all the way. Take that end off, and we're just gonna peel the garlic. And it's a little more tedious to slice it, but I just think it looks better. You don't get hit with that intense, hot, fiery garlic flavor, you know, when you mince it, because it gets all those oils and juices going. All right, so I actually ended up being 3 cloves, but that's fine. So basically what we're gonna do is kind of similar to the onion, root end on this side. Just gonna slice it, and that's it. And then root end gone, we don't need it. Same thing. You can kind of build up speed as you get more confident. If you're not confident, don't do that. Alright, so got our onions and garlic here. And this is all gonna go bye-bye. So I'm just gonna pick that up with my blade. In culinary school, one of our teachers never let us put our knife down. It was basically an extension of our arm, he called it. So every lab class was about 4 hours long. And I had him for 2 classes in a row one semester. I remember literally holding my knife, never putting it down other than like the break in between the 4-hour classes for 8 hours straight, you know. And just using my left hand for almost everything, and this is just scooping and picking up. It was ridiculous. But it makes you learn. It makes you feel comfortable with your knife. Also like the balancing thing, where to hold it, you know. So, all right. So now let's clean up a little bit. So I'm gonna wrap this. Cats are already fed, so they're somewhere else. Usually they're in here messing around. They were in here before I went live, screaming at me for whatever reason. Probably want treats or something, which I'll give them later. Yeah, she's just sitting on the heater. All right, so put that away. So you could use marinara for this broth if you want to cheat, which I thought about doing, but after all, I just kind of, I'm gonna go ahead and make my own broth. That way it doesn't have all that extra kind of flavoring and preservatives in it that the marinara does. All right, so we're gonna put a little oil in there. A little oil. Kind of let that start coming up. This pan's getting nice and warm, which is what we want. We'll probably start our pork chops after we get our broth kind of put together and get that going, because this broth needs a little bit of time for the flavors to come together. But we're really kind of going for that kind of like tomatoey, buttery kind of brothy feel. It's gonna be kind of like a mixture between a broth and a sauce, kind of. Not quite either or. We'll go ahead and get this pan starting to heat up too. All right, so while we're doing that, I'm gonna get a landing zone for risotto cakes. All right, you see I got my fancy gunmetal spoon here that they don't make anymore. Hashtag Coons, K-U-N-Z, K-U-N-S, sorry. I think, I haven't, yeah, no, it is K-U-N-Z. No. I've been out of the loop for a while. So we can go ahead and get these open. I pulled these pork chops out of my fridge about 30 minutes ago. You always want your meat to be room temp or close enough to it. I actually cut these pork chops at work today. So if you live in Raleigh and you're near Publix, you might be at the one I work at. Pick you up some pork chops, man. But anyway, so that I left a little bit of fat on. I like that. And have a little flavor there, something to baste. And then you got the bone here, the chine bone. Just a little bit of it left. And then you can get your nice ribs. You got your nice rib chop here. So basically if you cut that circle out, you got a boneless pork chop, right? So that's what you see in the store as well. But I want the bone. I like bone in. Bone in always tastes better in my opinion. So, all right, so we're gonna get onions and garlic in. A nice little sizzle that we all love. All right, I'm actually gonna get another spoon out and ready to go. Where's my reggae? Coons, I guess I don't have it. There it is. Alright. So basically what we're gonna do is kind of let that go. Get that garlic separated a little bit there. And what we're gonna do is we've always layered the seasoning. So salt and pepper. And we're gonna go ahead and actually put some thyme in now. That way the oil, it can kind of let its flavor out in the oil. Jesus, they got this packed in here. Do about, let's see, about 3 sprigs, 3 decent sized sprigs. And it will pop when it hits the oil, so just be careful. fresh herbs usually do. Don't let that scare you. See how that time's getting nice and bright. Alright, we're going to use this for the pork chops as well, so we'll keep this out. Let's get this closed back up here. Alright, so let's get these majors open. So, can opener. Obviously be careful opening cans. I just kind of fucked it up. Jesus. Alright. So I got our can here of tomatoes. I'm not going to use this whole thing, so I'm going to put some in a Tupperware, use it for later. You never want to store stuff in aluminum cans like that. Unless you want botulism, then go for it. I really don't, so. Alright, so we're gonna add probably, I don't know, about half of this. Quarter to a half. About a quarter of it. That stirred around with the onions and garlic and the thyme. Kind of let that start doing its thing. Turn it down a little bit. We don't need it to blare. So let me get a Tupperware. Where are all my tuppers? This is fun. Let's see, tomato sauce is like a volcano. So what we're also gonna do is get that in there, and then I'm gonna put a little water in here and just kind of like shake it up and try to get some of that residual out. I also add a little liquid to it, so that way it's more brothy. And then we're also gonna add our chicken stock. So this is a what 28 ounce. So it was a 28 ounce can. I probably used, I don't know, 7 to 8 ounces of it. So about a cup. And then we're gonna use probably half a cup of chicken stock. I'm gonna keep it out just in case I need more later on. Unsalted chicken stock, by the way. So now we got onions, garlic, thyme, crushed tomatoes, a little bit of water, a little bit of chicken stock. Just kind of letting that go now. And we're gonna let that come up to a simmer and just kind of do its thing. So we're gonna season salt, pepper. And I like this, I don't know if I did it yesterday or not, this roasted garlic and herb spice. It's just a little something something. You don't have to add it if you don't want to. You can add whatever kind of your favorite spice blend is. But we're kind of going for an Italian flair, so. And we'll do a little bit of crushed red. Give a little heat. I think I forgot to change my information, dude. On Twitch. Ah, fuck. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Hold on. Yep. Yep. In the wrong category. Pro streamer here. Hello? God. Until I've been doing this a long time. Okay. Alright, we're back at it. That never happened. Alright, so tomato broth going. Actually, I might just leave it like, I might not even need to blend it, man. I might just leave it like that. That looks kind of good. Alright, so this is coming up. Let's get our risotto cakes made. This is just a little extra time there. Alright, so you're just gonna have to get your hands dirty on this one. So make sure they're clean. Let me put this away. So always just keep your area clean, man. Just more, especially when you're in a tight space like mine. You gotta keep your area clear, or else you're just gonna drive yourself crazy. All right, mise en place, right? All right, so risotto cake. So what I'm gonna do, take a little bit of risotto here, already cooked, already has the cheese and everything in it, so it's very, very easy to make cakes out of, very forgiving, but they also need to be a good thickness so it cooks all the way through and it's not just like cold in the middle. So it almost looks like a crab cake or something, but basically what we're going to do is just kind of round it out, flatten it down, round it out a little bit, and boom, risotto cake. Same thing. I guess I'll just use the rest of this because why not? Get 3 nice cakes out of it. Again, smash down, round out. Just get them to a nice thickness, about 1/4 inch, I guess. A little bit less, a little more, give or take. You can see that nice fresh clove of garlic on there. And then the last one here. I normally have like music or something going, but I don't want to get like muted on my VODs and stuff, and this is for YouTube as well, so the way the internet is nowadays, everybody needs to get their money somehow, so. Alright, so we got risotto cakes ready. I'm just gonna do them one at a time, that way it's just easier to control. And just a little bit cooks it a lot more even as well when you cook them one at a time. All right. So we're gonna kind of multitask now. So this is kind of where you gotta kind of pay attention to what you're doing and kind of know every step that's coming next. So this is at a good simmer right here. That's all we want. Just let it do its thing while we're cooking. So we're actually gonna do pork chops and risotto cakes at the same time. So strap on. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get a landing zone for both. So this will be for my risotto cakes. I'm gonna put a paper towel down and kind of drain some of it after it comes off the pan. And then our pork chops we can let land over there. Actually turn that down a little bit. Damn, this is a late dinner, man. It's already 9 o'clock. I just got off work though, so. All right. So this is heating up nice. You don't have to touch the pan like I do. It's just a habit. If Graham's in here watching, he knows. Graham, if you're here, man, say something in the chat. That way I know you're here. But all right, we're gonna turn this up a little bit. It's about medium-high heat, I guess you could call it. Yeah, I'm working with electric, so it sucks, but it is what it is. And then we'll turn this up just a touch too. These pans get hot pretty quick, so right, so it's gonna look like a lot of oil for the pork, but we're also gonna baste, so we need with butter, so we don't want our butter to burn, so that way we're using oil as well. And then same with over here for the risotto cakes. And I'm gonna have this as kind of like my wipe towel. So basically the goal of these risotto cakes is to be nice and crispy on the outside and nice and kind of ooey gooey on the inside. And we're going to season our pork with just salt and pepper, because most of the flavor is going to come from the basting with the butter and the thyme. And I would throw a clove of garlic in there, but I think we just got garlic in our sauce and our risotto as well, that if I put garlic in with the pork, it might just overbear it. Plus pork's very, very like subtle flavor anyway, so garlic would definitely just kind of mask it. And this is literally freshly cut today, so this pork's decent. Alright, so this pan is a little too hot, so let's kind of let it cool down a little bit. This is why I hate electric, because it's always hard to kind of judge where you're at. Alright, so this is looking good. I'm going to go ahead and open this window here. If I turn the hood vent on, I don't think you guys will be able to hear me. Kind of pat that seasoning in, and we're just going to kind of go down with the first chop. I can actually get both in here. That worked out. Just kind of put them kind of like a yin yang shape, and then wash your hands. If you don't have a pan that can fit both, you don't have to do both at the same time. Do whatever you can do. Let me put this in a better spot. Alright, so now we're going to add our risotto cake down. So here's the first one. Kind of want this to brown kind of slowly. We don't want it to go nuts. So salt, pepper the other side of the pork. It's getting real now. This is where you got to pay attention. My risotto is already seasoned really well, so I'm not going to add any more seasoning to that. Just kind of let it do its thing. Got a fish spatula ready. Make sure it doesn't stick. And we're rolling. I'm gonna turn this up a little bit. So I'm gonna let the pork sear for a minute. I'm gonna flip it, right after I flip it, I'm gonna start basting. So really, I'm only searing kind of one side, and that'll be the side that we, present, obviously. You'll kind of see what I'm talking about as we go. Alright, so this risotto cake, so you can flip it more than once. I mean, the whole flip once thing is a myth. Just be careful. Because we want this thing to kind of cook evenly all the way through as well. So we're kind of cooking it like a grilled cheese. You want to make sure it's nice and melty on the inside without burning on the outside. Broth's coming along. Pork searing. We're rolling, man. I'm gonna get my basting stuff ready, which is just thyme and butter. Got my basting spoon here. Check and see what this pork's looking like. Oh yeah, looking good. Let it go for a little bit longer. If anybody has any questions, let me know. Or any ideas, anything to say, let me know. But yeah, they say to cook pork to, you know, at least 145. Well, like a pork loin, pork roast, pork tenderloin, 145 and above. That's about what we're gonna do. We're probably gonna be around 145, 150, I would say. I'm not gonna temp it, but it is what it is. It might cook all the way through by the time we base it as well, so. All right, let's check this risotto cake here. Yeah. All right, let's see about this pork. Yeah, buddy. Let that one go a little bit longer. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rotate them in the pan. So this side is a little bit hotter for whatever reason. There we go. Do what I want to do. There we go. I mean, this is very similar, you know, how it's done in a restaurant. You know, you're cooking a bunch of different things at once for one dish, right? Because it's all got to come out fresh. Except in reality, I would be getting my green beans on a little bit sooner than I'm actually going to, but hey. And the broth would already be made. These would already be pattied out, but you get what I'm saying. All right, so now, perfect. So we're gonna put that up there like that. What we're gonna do is take some butter, probably about half of this to start. Pop it in right here. Let that melt up. Get our thyme ready, decent amount. Turn our heat down just a tad. It's gonna pop like that, so stand back. Just let it get all that flavor in there. I'm gonna take this one off. This one's good. Landing zone. And let's add our other one. Just keep them going, man. The pan's at a good heat right now, so we're chilling. So now what we're gonna do is lean it towards you, kind of off the heat. If you have gas, obviously you can kind of feel where your hand is gonna be. But you can kind of put this thyme up on the pork chops like this, right? See all the fancy chefs doing this? And then you just baste with the butter and oil mixture. You can impress your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your man friend, your other man friend, your girl man friend, whatever it is nowadays. With this, they'll love it. You know, you take $3 pork chops and turn it into something fancy. That's the whole idea. So we'll baste for a little bit, let them cook for a little bit, baste for a little bit, let them cook for a little bit, and they'll be done. The broth sauce is coming along nice. We got risotto cakes coming along nice. Fish out this little burnt piece of rice that kind of fell off here. Like I said, the goal with the risotto cake is kind of to brown it over time. Like that's the first flip. It's going to end up looking like that. So that's what we want. All right, so we're going to go back to basting. The oil in here is kind of keeping the butter from burning. So obviously if you see the butter burning, then do something about it. Because if you have burnt butter, it's going to taste burnt and it's going to ruin the whole dish. So. Just be careful here, you don't want to spill it, you don't want to burn yourself. Just let it kind of do its thing. So it's still They're about mid-rare right now, which is fine. We're gonna let them keep going because we got time, literally and figuratively. Just kind of let everything go, man. And once those pork chops come out, we're gonna let them rest over here, clean our pan out, and we're gonna get our green beans in. It'll be kind of a similar process. We're gonna start them in oil, just a touch of oil, not a lot. I don't really like garlicky green beans. I just kind of like salt and pepper, and that's it on my green beans. It's very simple if they're fresh. Like, you can eat them raw if you want, so. All right, especially haricot vert. So now, flip that one. You got a nice little piece of garlic on there, nice and seared, looks good. Just keep an eye on your broth, keep it stirred so it doesn't burn on the bottom. Actually turn that down. And go back to basting. You can do this with anything: chicken, beef, fish, vegetables. I mean, you can literally sear and baste whatever you want, and it all will be delicious. Because you're basically cooking it from two sides, from the pan and from on top when you're putting hot oil and butter over it. I focus a little bit over here on the fat end. Make sure you render that fat out. Yeah, they're almost there. Perfect. Just keep this thing going. Flip it about every minute or so, because they can go from brown to black very, very quick. And once it's black, there's no coming back, because it's going to taste burnt all the way through. Now this time's pretty much done its job for us, so we're going to take this off. Carefully throw it away. We're gonna give it one little final basting here, and we're gonna pull them off. If you go to a restaurant, a lot of times this is how your seared stuff is made, so they don't have to finish it in the oven if it's a small and thin enough piece. Alright, this one's done. And the last one goes in. So now if you kept your heat right and controlled it, this oil isn't going to burn on you. You're not going to have a bunch of burnt stuff in there, so you can just keep going and going and going with a clean pan. That's the idea. Alright, so these pork chops are done, so kind of do this. So basically what this is doing is getting any residual kind of oil and stuff, just letting it drain. Yeah. Yeah, so these are about medium-ish right now. But by the time they rest over here, they will be done to where I want them to. So we're gonna kind of put them up on like that, so that way they get air underneath them, so they don't just sit there and get soggy. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we'll let that pan cool down for a minute. We're gonna clean it out, and we're gonna go in with our green beans. And that'll be the last part of the dish, and then we'll put it all together. Actually, what we can do is make sure you save this can, and you can just pour your excess oil straight into this can and let it cool down that way. Right, so then we'll take our wipe. So this what we're doing is just kind of wiping out all the debris, because you kind of want to keep some of that pork flavor in there a little bit, but not too much. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and spray it off just because. So fresh pan. On heat, risotto cake, flip. We're done with this. Dishwasher. Because why wash something when you have a machine to do it for you? Let this pan get re-hot. It's still warm, but just let it kind of warm back up all the way. Alright, our sauce is looking good. So what I'm going to do with the sauce now, I'm going to add this last pat of butter, about a tablespoon. And let that melt up. You could add some cream too, which I may do. I have some in my fridge, so I might do that as well. We'll kind of see where this lands us here. Good alternative to butter. Well, you could just use oil. You don't have to use butter. You can just use the oil that's in the pan and just flavor it with the thyme. You could flavor it with garlic as well, or whatever you want to flavor it with. Let's see what else you could do. You can use any kind of like dairy-free, low-fat kind of dairy alternative, like butter alternative as well, that's out there. Or if you can find clarified butter already made for you that has all the milk fat and all the milk solids already out of it, so that helps lower the cholesterol level a lot. It also helps increase the smoke point of it as well, so you can actually almost use it like oil. That way you still get the butter flavor without like the bad side of the butter. That's typically about it. Basting is more about kind of what you're basting it with. Obviously butter has its own flavor, but whatever herbs and whatever you put in it, you could put, you know, actually whole dried spices in there as well, like cardamom, whole cumin seed, whatever you want to do, man. It can literally, you can kind of flavor it however you want with basting, which is why I love it. But a lot of times in restaurants, we use it to also finish the dish. So like if we're like behind, if we're weeded and I need these pork chops out in 2 minutes and they're not anywhere close to done, I'm gonna start basting, regardless if it says on the menu or not. So a lot of times you kind of want your order to be weeded, so that way you get a lot more butter from the fact of it, you know. But, you know, restaurant secrets are restaurant secrets, which is kind of what you're here to learn. But so we got a decently warm pan. The oil's not smoking yet. Oops. So let's get our green beans in. Now you don't have to put your hand in there like I do, but I just out of habit do it. Alright, so this risotto cake's almost done, so I'm going to kill the heat on the front here. Just kind of let it finish off on that side. We're going to season our green beans, salt, pepper. Now for the green beans, we're going to do a cool little trick here. So I got this lid that's supposed to fit another pan, but it happens to fit this pan perfectly. So once these get a little bit of color on them, we're going to hit it with a little bit of chicken stock, maybe a little bit of water, and just kind of let them steam for a little bit, and then we'll kind of let them go. And then we'll add a little pat of butter, so I need to get a little bit more butter. I just love butter, so. Or you can just use less butter too. Like you can use like, you know, half a tablespoon or a teaspoon. You'll still get that flavor without all the rest of it in there, and you can use the remaining of it as oil. Alright, so we're done with that pan, so I'm going to put it off to the side, let that oil kind of cool down. It's probably really, really loud, sorry. But so kind of what I'm letting them do, I'm kind of letting them sear on one side. They're going to get kind of brown on one side. And then what we'll do is we'll hit it with a little bit of chicken stock I have left over. I'm actually going to cut it with a little bit of water. You don't need a lot, just a little bit. Not a lot, baby girl, just a little bit. And what will happen is the butter and the chicken stock and water will kind of come together as a sauce. It's called a beurre monté. And that will actually coat the green beans and kind of give them this kind of glossy glaze look. And that's kind of what, you know, and that's what they do in restaurants and everything as well. So I'm gonna go on a fancy big square plate for plating in this dish, and we'll kind of see where we end up. So yeah, so you see how it's kind of like, it's a little too loose to call it a tomato sauce, but it's a little too thick to call it a broth. That's what you want. And you can call it a broth if you want, but so that butter kind of came together, kind of brought it all together, emulsified well. So now we're gonna shake this up. So you can see the nice little sear on one side. Yeah, that's what you want right there. So now what we're gonna do, take the chicken stock and water, or you could just use straight water, you could just use straight chicken stock, you could use vegetable stock, any kind of stock that you like. If you're vegetarian, just use vegetable. Obviously if you're vegetarian, you wouldn't be eating pork, but hey. So be careful here because you're adding water to oil. So we're just doing a little bit, and then we're gonna cover. So just let those cook a little bit, kind of let them do their thing. Risotto cakes are ready. Get a pat of butter ready for these green beans. It's a lot of green beans, so. But we are done with the thyme. You could actually throw some thyme in there with the green beans too, but that way you kind of have it going throughout. So I'm thinking about it. No, I kind of like this sauce the way it is. I kind of like the texture of it because it's not like super chunky, but it's not like super velvety either. So it's kind of rustic, if you will. I kind of hate that word, but it is what it is. So I'm gonna take this thyme out. I'm just gonna put it on this plate right here because we're pretty much done with this plate anyway. I just think rustic is overused a lot, and I think a lot of times it's used for people that just don't know, you know, kind of what they're doing, or like they messed up or something. So, but. All right, so where are we at on these? Perfect. So that's literally how quick it goes. Literally about, I don't know, how long was that? Like a minute or two? Not even. So we'll start with 2 pats and kind of see where that lands us. That might be enough actually for what we got going on. Turn the heat up a little bit. Actually, I'll go ahead and throw this last pat in. So now we're gonna evaporate the rest of that water and also emulsify at the same time. So we'll get kind of a nice gloss on these green beans. We also have that kind of that sear, so you're getting that brown flavor as well. Maillard. The Maillard effect. AKA brown food tastes good, so just sear your food. So to plate this, if I was in a restaurant, you know, I'd probably just give them one of these risotto cakes, 1 pork chop, and some green beans. But I'm gonna be eating this and I'm hungry, so I'll probably do 2 risotto cakes and a pork chop and some green beans and some sauce and stuff like that. So you can see how that water and that butter kind of came together in a sauce. It's called a beurre monté. You've heard beurre blanc, you've heard all different beurre, it's just French for butter. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna re-season one more time since we added that water. It kind of took off what we had on there. So salt, pepper. Give it one final little toss. So they're nice and glazed, nice and shiny. If you ever see your green beans coming out like that at a restaurant, like a steakhouse or something, that's what they're doing. I promise you. Hopefully they're not coming out of a microwave or something, but you know, you never know nowadays. All right, so if you want to get real fancy and impressive, what we can do, so you want to kind of get some of this sauce here. You can strain it if you like, you don't have to. I kind of like seeing some garlic in there, and that means you guys made it yourself. You didn't just open a can of marinara and pour it in here. So what we'll do is we're gonna put some sauce down. on the plate. Kind of spread it out with the back of the spoon a little bit. Just kind of make a little nice little puddle here. So this is meant to be eaten, you know, at the point of eating it, right? So if you let this sit too long, it's obviously gonna kind of disintegrate, but that's why we got this nice crisp on this risotto cake. So put one right in the middle of the sauce. Put another one kind of on top of that. Let's grab some tongs here to make it easier on us. Grab a nice little bit of green beans here. What we're gonna do is just kind of put them off to the side, kind of catty corner to the risotto. We're not getting too fancy here. I mean, this is just, it's pork chops and risotto. You know, how fancy is it really? That's kind of where you gotta draw the line of being pretentious and, you know, so we got green beans, and then we're gonna take our pork chop. So it's nice and rested. So now it's probably about medium wellish. So it's still gonna have a little bit of pink in there. So basically what you wanna do is, it's kind of how you wanna set it in front of the person, so they kind of get to see the green, they can see the risotto, they can see the red from the sauce, and then obviously the coup de grace is the seared pork chop on top. You know, if I was in a restaurant, I'd probably just leave it like that, man. I mean, you can do whatever you're like, drizzle, garnish, or whatever the fuck you want to do, but at the end of the day, this is what they're eating, you know what I mean? So they're not eating the sprig of parsley or the sprig of thyme. They can't eat that. You know, that's why I took it out. So, you know, you can put some cheese down if you want. I'm gonna leave it alone. There's already cheese in the risotto cake, so I don't want too much cheese with my pork either. And that's the dish. That's literally it. I mean, this could have fed 2 people easily. If I had one more pork chop, it could have fed 3. This entire dish probably cost me, like I said, the pork chops were $3.59. The green beans were $3 for that whole pack. I already had the butter. I already had chicken stock left over. The risotto was already made from yesterday, so that didn't cost me anything. So I mean, this dish cost like what, $8 maybe? The can of tomatoes was like $2. So this whole dish, I mean, cost like $8 to $10 just to do this, you know, and a little bit of your time, that's it. And now for me tomorrow, I got, you know, more green beans to eat. I got another pork chop to eat. I got more tomato sauce to use, and I got more risotto. I got another risotto cake. So it made 2 meals just for me in itself. So I mean, when you think about, you know, cost effectiveness and the value of the meal, that's kind of what you're going for, right? So for me, we're someone that, you know, has to be frivolous with their money and doesn't have a shit ton of money like a lot of people around me do. You know, this dish costing, this plate right here costing $5 is a big deal, right? But I mean, look at that. Would you think that cost $5? So in a restaurant, that probably cost them about $5 to make, which is why they're charging you $20, $25 to eat it. So when you think about it that way, you know, that's the reality of things. Because pork is cheap, canned tomatoes are cheap, green beans are cheap, risotto is just rice is cheap, you know, and it can last you a long time. So I mean, if you just have some stuff laying around the house to go with it, if you have some other vegetables in there like broccoli or whatever you have in the house, that's the idea. I mean, this is just what I literally got off work at the grocery store I work at, and I saw the pork chops were on sale. I got a pack of those. I saw the green beans were on sale, and then I'm like, what do I have at the house that I can use? I'm like, I got the leftover risotto cakes done. I got a can of tomatoes done, tomato broth, boom. So within the course of like, I don't know, 2 seconds, I had a dish in mind. Obviously that's not the same for everybody, so some people are gonna have to, you know, look up stuff, which is why I'm here, you know. And I'm hoping people are catching on. I'm hoping people are liking this. I got, you know, a guy asking questions. I love it. Or a girl, sorry, I don't know. But yeah, so I'm gonna put this one up on YouTube. I'm gonna put yesterday's up on YouTube as well. I'm still learning YouTube and the editing and everything. But I hope y'all like the dish. Wait, I don't know. I didn't get like a close-up of it. But I hope y'all like the dish. I I gotta get the recipes together and stuff like that I guess I can put on my social media and my Twitter and my Instagram, so follow that for all the food pics and everything. I'll take a picture of this real quick actually once I end the stream. So I mean, it looks good, right? I mean, for $5 you can't beat that plate. So that's the goal. But it's already 9:30 and I'm starving. I haven't eaten for a while, so since this morning really. So I'm gonna go ahead and dive into this. But thanks for tuning in, thanks for chatting, thanks for asking questions. Just follow my Twitter and my Instagram for updates on when I'm gonna go live. I have a Facebook page as well. Canigan on Twitch is my Facebook page. My Twitter is @CaniganTV, just like my Twitch name, and so is my Instagram. So just follow those. Follow me on Twitch. I try to do at least 3 to 4 streams a week, whether it's Apex or in gaming or cooking or both. Like yesterday, I streamed 3 times. Yesterday, I did 2 gaming streams and 1 cooking stream. So I guess I can like put this down, huh? So you guys can see me. I don't know if I want you to see me better. I don't know if that's awkward view or not, but so that's the dish. This is me. Y'all like what you see, drop a follow. Thanks, Mom. Appreciate it. I thought that was you. Oh, that light's kind of blinding, isn't it? Damn. But yeah, just drop a follow and keep tuning in for more dishes, man. And you can say hi to my cats. I don't know what she's doing right now. Doing something that she's not supposed to be doing. But yeah, so I'm gonna enjoy this. Here's one last kind of look at it, one little more pan of the dish. Trying to get all the cinematography here. I don't know if it's working or not, but and we'll say goodbye to Aurora, right? Okay, she said goodbye. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and call it there. It's been an hour actually. That's nice. That's a good, nice little stream. Perfect. Cool. So I'll get this up on YouTube. You can check it out there if you want to watch it. You can rewatch my VOD. I suck at ending stream and saying goodbye. I stall a lot, obviously, as you can tell. But that's it for me, y'all. Take it easy tonight. Just let me know if you have any questions. You can message me on any of my social media or whatever, and just let me know if you want some recipes or anything. You know, let's get this community growing. You know what I mean? So thanks for watching. Appreciate it.